it was like I said, it was just too late. The Falcons was just ahead of the game. I think they hit a stride. And Hugh, over the years, man, we know from experience from watching football a lot that it was like I said, it was just too late. The Falcons was just ahead of the game. I think they hit a stride. And playoff time, Hugh, over the years, man, we know from experience from watching football a lot that was some years ago, the Giants or whatever, a wild card team hit a groove and then go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. And I don't think the Falcons are in that type of groove where they'll get to the Super Bowl to win one. But I think they're in a groove to possibly get to an NFC Championship game. I think that the offense is starting to click now. They get it. They understand what's going on. And I'm picking them basically because the Rams really don't have too much experience. You got Jared Goff in his first playoff game. Granted, he's at home, so he'll feel a little more comfortable. But, you know, it's a national stage, prime time game. They got the prime time. So it's a prime time game, and the lights are going to be on. He does have Ty Gurley back there. So it's going to lessen the blow big time for him, take a lot of pressure off of him. But I just think I think the Falcons is going to be too much, man. I think they're going to exploit. And you are right, Hugh. The defense, the Rams have a stout defense. But I think they're going to spread them out with them two running backs, man. The two running backs going to they're going to tire that defense out. And I'm taking the Falcons by a touchdown. I think they're going to win by a touchdown.
You go. So you going with the Devontae Coleman Express?
Yeah.
I like to mix those two guys. I think they're one of the second best running back core, like in that top three running back cores too. I agree. They do have some good running backs. Definitely don't sleep on them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about the Bills and the Jaguars. The Jaguars. Jay?
Bills and the Jaguars. This is so hard to pick, but it may lay on the fact that LaShawn McCoy is not playing, or if he'll play or not, or how healthy he is if he does play. Jacksonville has a great defense. They number one this year. Number one in total defense. And it's tricky though with them because Blake Bortles, who is their quarterback, is very iffy. Like you don't know what you get with him. It's like dice. Like you just roll the dice and, you know what I'm saying? Like you hit snake eyes, you just hit snake eyes that you done. You know, so it's, I don't know. I'm very reluctant to pick somebody here. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. Just because they're at home. They probably run the ball pretty good against that Buffalo defense. So I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. Just because you don't know what you're gonna get. Blake Bortles might go out and throw 4 interceptions in the game, and Buffalo beat them. You know what I'm saying? Not having to do much on offense. So I'm gonna just go with Jacksonville. That's what I'm gonna go with. This is one of the games that kind of, you know, got me kind of anxious to see. kind of anxious to see this game.
You said the Jags.
Yeah, I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You want to say how many points? Because I know Hugh already said these other teams winning by 3. He likes to give, like, his points. And, like, you want to do that, or you just going to say the Jags and just roll with it?
Just for sport, I'll give points. So I'll go by 6 points. I'll give the Jags 6 points. They'll win my 2 field goals.
All right, Hugh?
I'm going to go Jacksonville Jaguars due to the fact that even if LaShawn McCoy play, how big of a factor he's going to be with that bad ankle injury. He was day-to-day right now. That's what he was listed, but at the same time, he hasn't really got a lot of practice time in, and that's vital to their team because he leads the team in receiving yards, and, you know, he's their leading rusher. To have such a big weapon like that taken away is going to be costly to them, even though I know they have Kelvin Benjamin over there, and I feel like he's a big target, but how much of a factor he's going to be over there with Bouye and that great, with Jalen Ramsey and just that great, you know, cornerback core. You know, they got that great defensive backfield, and they got a stout front seven. That's the thing that more or less scared you about Jacksonville. Not Blake Bortles, you know, and then, you know, you got Leonard Fournette. He have to stay healthy, too, because he's very injury-prone this year. But I feel like they have enough on offense, despite Blake Bortles, to still pull out a victory because that defense is so good. And not only that, I think they lead one of the league teams in leading defensive scoring touchdowns. I know they're at least in the top 3 at that category, but yeah, I think the defense can help them along because I don't really feel like, you know, Ryan Taylor is a really scary guy, you know, when it comes to being a quarterback, even though he's a dual threat and it might give him fits. We've seen what Jimmy did, you know, he's a little mobile and he can pass the ball. You can get that combination to kind of rattle the Jaguars, but at the same time, though, he don't really have that many big players outside of. Now, if McCoy's not playing, you still have Clay and you have Kelvin Benjamin. But that might not just be enough for the Buffalo Bills. So I feel like they play not to lose. They don't play to win on the regular. Like the game we saw against the Dolphins, that was a squeaky win. They squeaked it to the playoffs. So, yeah, I would have to go with the more dominant team for most of the year, even though they were Jekyll and Hyde, but I feel like that defense enough will help Jacksonville Jaguars, and I get up a 10-point favorite.
10 points.
All right.
Yeah, so that defense going to get one of them touchdowns. Yep. I think the defense going to give them a touchdown, and then the field goal going to help.
I'm going to go with the Jags because my cousin husband used to play for the Bills, and he's not there no more. So I'm going to go with the Jags, too. I don't care how many points. The Panthers and the Saints. And I'm going for the Saints because I'm not a fan. Ain't that Cam Newton team, the Panthers? No.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his. So I'm going for the Saints. So, Jay, so you got Saints, Panthers.
I'm going to go with the Saints, too. I think the Panthers, they just don't look like a playoff team to me. Cam Newton is starting to really show his true colors as a quarterback. Like, Cam can't throw the ball accurately. Like, and that really will kill a team on offense, especially when the offense is built around you. You have to be able to move the ball, especially in the playoffs, when you really don't have a solid running game like that. And you look at them, they really don't have like a solid running game. Christian McCaffrey is what you call a multi-purpose back. So, you know, you can run him out the backfield, everything. He's not like a 3-down back where he's running between the tackles or running off tackle and stuff like that, where you got to bring safeties up to, you know, in the box to stop him from running, stuff like that. Like, it's the offense is built around Cam. And by him being so inconsistent, the way he is with throwing the ball, the Saints have a stout defense. Their defense has stepped up this season big time. So I think the Saints are gonna. I think they're gonna dominate this game. I really do. I think Drew Brees gonna throw for about 300 yards, about 2-3 touchdowns. Mark Ingram gonna get off. Alvin Kamara gonna get off. Yeah, and in New Orleans too. Nolans,
yeah.
and Nolans too. So, hey,
yes,
I kind of feel sorry for the Falcons this week. I think this is going to be our blowout. You know, because usually you have about 2-3 blowouts in the playoffs. I think these other games are actually going to be tight because they're so evenly matched. But with this game, I just think that the Falcons kind of exposed Cam a lot. And the Falcons' defense is not that great. They're not better than the Saints. And I think the Saints has the better defense. So, yeah, I'm taking the Saints by 2 touchdowns in this one.
All right. Hugh?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints beat them by 2 touchdowns, too, because that offense, man, looked like they were just running out of gas, and this wasn't at the end of the game. This is before the half with the Panthers. Besides McCaffrey, man, being a flex back that could do everything, you know, Jonathan Stewart hasn't been really doing much. He hasn't been really an impact player. I mean, yeah, you got Greg Olsen and you have Funchess, but how much are they going to be able to handle? You know, you got Lattimore back there. You got some really good defenders over there. You know, you got a lot of guys when it comes to that defense now that stepped up. And a lot of them technically were just really good draft picks. One of them was a draft pick they got from New England for the Brandon Cooks trade. And I really felt like he panned out because that alone kept them from getting Malcolm Butler. I felt like that was a really good move from their half, saying, okay, let us go ahead and get a guy, first-round draft pick, put him in the fold and see how he plays. It was a little shaky at the beginning of the year, but now that's what makes them more deadly because they're dangerous on both sides of the ball. And not only that, you got, to me, the best running back tandem in the league with, you know, Kamara, and you have, you know, former Heisman winner Mark Ingram. I just really feel like they're going to act fool over here with New Orleans. And that takes a lot off of Drew Brees. Even though Drew Brees did throw over 300 yards, you still got the deadly force 2,000-yard backs in your backfield. You got a power back and you got a flex back. And not let alone we're not even gonna say Mike Thomas and a lot of the weapons they have on the outside too. So yeah, I definitely feel like this is gonna be a blowout early game, and they blew them out both times this season. So I don't see that changing. Yeah, I definitely have this New Orleans Saints, and I'm gonna go with them to. I'd probably be stretching this one, but I have them as a 17-point favorite.
Well, all right.
You think it's gonna be a blowout?
It's gonna be
I see it coming, man. I see it coming. Like Cam Newton just looked disinterested, like he want to get to the off season. Like they made a mistake. They made the playoffs. Like he like, man, dang, I didn't even need to get here. Like I wanted to do something with the off season. Like, yeah, he looked disinterested, man.
They didn't show me enough, man.
Yeah, I just feel it. Like I feel a blowout coming. I'd be surprised if the Saints let them hang around and You know what I'm saying? They win by 3 points or even a touchdown. Like, yeah.
Well, let's see how that works out. All right, well, y'all, that's our NFL wild card predictions. So let's talk about these coaches that ain't got no jobs.
Or
hey, I don't know. Oh man, it's so funny. No, it's not. That's not nice. I shouldn't laugh at them not having jobs. I'm sure they'll find a job somewhere. So let's start it at home and talk about Jimmy Radio Caldwell and if he deserves to be fired. Was his firing fair or foul? Hugh?
I think with his situation, you could say that it was a long time coming. I believe when Marcus Ford gave him the extension, it was just on due diligence of the fact that we were a 500 team and we made the playoffs, even though we were one and done. And she's seen progress in the team. Besides Wayne Fine, which is funny, he is one of the other winningest coaches that came to the Lions. I don't really think his winning really got us anywhere, and that's one of the reasons why it hurt us, kind of like in that Cincinnati Bengals move. A lot of times on that team, we've seen how undisciplined they were. They wasn't disciplined, and they didn't play up to their caliber. But, yes, I feel like with him, I just feel like he didn't have the passion to lead the players. I think that he's too subtle at times when he should have been more aggressive. And that's one of the problems, I believe. I think they wanted to have one of those, player coaches that were a little out there and a little edgy, who would, argue with call or even challenge the referees when he felt like they were wrong. I think too much of that stuff happened where it was like up to the coach to make a challenge or to force them to say, hey, man, we need you to do a better job as referees and, look and see the game for what it's worth, except for going on your instincts. Sometimes you could go on instincts, but this is not baseball. This is football where you have the replay booth and everything right there in front of you. And I just don't feel like he made a lot of big plays as far as the challenges. When he dropped the ball on some of the challenges, that's why I think he was doomed that then. But not only that, just to make it short and sweet to get to James, I knew Bob Quinn was going to try to go after one of his guys. He felt like they've been in the league for long enough now, and I know he's looking at it like Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels would be viewed as candidates. And I feel like he believed he could snag one of those guys and bring them over to the Detroit Lions, and I feel like that's who we want to go with. No disrespect to Caldwell. He had his opportunity. They gave him extensions. Just don't feel like that after the extension was over or his contract was over and they didn't renew his contract, that they were going to go with another one of those Caldwells or somebody outside of the organization. Bob Quinn wanted to set it up to have one of his guys in place.
All right. Jay?
I think it was I think it was the right decision. It was the right decision, and here's why. If you look at the Lions this season alone, just analyze the whole season. Firstly, you have undefeated record in the division at the time Aaron Rodgers goes down, right? So the Packers and the Vikings are pretty much the only threats in the NFC North. The Bears aren't really a threat like that. So you have to kind of compete. But if you really look at it, the Packers are really the only team that's consistent every year in the NFC North. And they're pretty much the team that you have to beat to win the conference. But when Aaron Rodgers is there. So Aaron Rodgers goes down. You already have a victory over the Vikings. before the Vikings rips off, about 7, 8 straight wins or whatever they do. So here you go, being the coach of the Detroit Lions, knowing what's at stake here. Okay, we could win our division. We could get to the playoffs, possibly a first round bye or, a home playoff game at least. Every week, you're playing from behind. The team doesn't look like they're interested in the first half, and then try that third and fourth quarter comeback crap, and you end up falling short. And then you have these fans, these Lion fans out here whining the ball. The refs made a bad call, or they cheated. They did this, or this was that, or whatever. If we had played in the first half, we wouldn't have nothing to talk about. And I just feel like he wasn't getting to the team emotionally and just motivating them to the point where they trusted him as a coach to take them to that next level. So I felt like it was time to go. Secondly, Bob Quinn got brought in as the GM, president of football operations or whatever. You have to let him get his own staff. You have to. You have to let him hire his own people in and see what his regime is as running the team. You can't keep, you can, but it's rare that, an owner or whatever let a GM keep the previous staff from the old GM or whatever. Like, that's his people. Let me get my people in here. Let me run this thing the way I want to run it. And that's that. You know what I'm saying? He's had a couple of drafts, but he hasn't had where he can pick his own head coach, and him and his head coach has a rapport and how they want to run things and how they want to do everything. So I really just feel like this was the correct move. I felt like it was overdue. I felt like Caldwell should have been out last year. So we're already, to me, a year in the hole. So Hugh and I talked about it too. We said it was either going to be, me and Hugh talked about it last year. It's either going to be, I was saying Josh McDaniels. I think Josh McDaniels is going to end up going to the coach. And I think we're going to end up getting Matt Patricia. So it's going to be a Patriot. It's going to be a Patriots guy. And that's all right with me. Let Bob Quinn do what he do and see what's going on. But they made the correct choice getting rid of Jim Caldwell. It was just time for him to go. And I hear a lot of people, it was a winningest coach in Lions history. That's okay. Stop it. I'll just stop. Just stop. Cut it out. This shenanigans, please. So yeah, they made the right choice.
All right. Well, it's a lot of coaches that got fired. We just go. Let's pick some big ones. Well, we just go. Yeah. Is there any particular coach y'all want to talk about? Because Bears coach got fired. The Colts coach got fired. The Giants coach got fired. The Raiders coach got fired, but they got a good one coming back. The guy, the Cardinals coach retired. Let's see, general manager. The Giants fired their general manager. The Packers general manager is changing roles. So we got a few state coaches, but yeah. Who y'all want to talk about? There's so many. Let's talk about the Giants. Do you think that the Giants firing was foul or fair? Not Dave, Lord, I can't talk. Ben McAdoo. Oh, okay, McAdoo. I can say that. You think his firing was fair or foul? Hugh?
It was definitely fair due to the fact that he lost that team after week 4.
Week 2.
So not only did you,
Right.
if you want to be politically correct, yeah, it was like too much going on. You know, it was just not just Eli Apple, even though I think Eli Apple was the worst out of the guys. You know, as far as coming out and arguing, he argued with damn near everybody on the team, including the coach. But I know for sure Janoris Jenkins and Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie actually, you know, challenged him as well. But when he lost all his receivers, man, it really got bad. And I just feel like he lost that team after they went, you know, south, and they just basically packed up and gave up on him. But at the end of the day, it definitely didn't help that when they were doing bad, too, you get rid of the quarterback and you start Geno Smith, who's definitely a journeyman and might be out of the NFL soon. I just don't think he has what it takes as a starting quarterback in the league. But it was just too much friction going on, too much arguing back and forth. And I think a lot of that stuff got sugar-coated last year. A lot of people didn't know that, you know. It was a little stench in the locker room there, and they just put a little cologne over it, and that means them having a winning season. And everybody looked at them like the sky's the limit. A lot of that stuff got exploited this year. And, you know, definitely things hit south when you're losing. When you're winning, everything's good. But when you're losing, you know, that's when, you know, people's true colors come out. And that's exactly what happened with him. And just too much bad, you know, went on over there with him. I just don't feel like he made a good decision, and he wasn't being a coach to those players. And it got to the point where when they gave up on him, that's when it was definitely over for him. And the decision with the Geno Smith, he definitely had to go. It was just a moment in time, and I know the Giants usually have class and don't fire a person until after the season, but they feel like a lot of the animosity and the things that was going on had to do with him. So they got rid of that cancer, and you still had your locker room cancer. But I think now the best thing for the Giants to do is get rid of a lot of those huge contracts over there, you know. Olivier Vernon, you know, Janoris Jenkins, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, a lot of those guys probably be on different teams next year. Because if your team plays that bad with all those high-priced players over there, plus you're going to have to sign Odell Beckham back, you know, because his contract is up. I don't think there's going to be room for a lot of those players, and definitely a contract that he's looking for. So, yeah, I think that team is definitely going to rebuild, and with the number 2 draft pick overall, they got a lot of room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, what you think? You think that this was fair or foul?
it can't get no fair than them getting rid of him. I was being generous by saying he lost a team in week 2. He probably lost them in OTAs or something. Like but I don't. Looking at him, like, through press conferences and stuff like that, I was trying to figure out why they even picked him to be the head coach. Like, he didn't seem equipped to be a head coach right now. And what I mean by that is his handling of the team and certain things that was going on. Like, you look at the market, just the market that he was in. You know, you got big markets when it comes to professional sports. You know, L.A., New York is a big one. Those are like the 2 biggest. You know what I'm saying? In the football, you got Philly, Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying, Pittsburgh, all that stuff, whatever. But he just didn't seem equipped to handle those bright lights in New York, you know. And from him pretty much calling the team out, I forget which week it was, but after they had a loss, he pretty much just put the team on blast. It was pretty much like, I can't, you know, they get paid a check, so, hey, they should always be ready to play, you know what I'm saying, because they're getting paid. Like, he just was like, I mean, just missing everything, you know. So Then you had the whole Eli Manning thing. You know what I'm saying? Stopped his, career starts, stuff like that. It was just a side show in New York. So I'll definitely say it was fair, and it just couldn't get no fairer than what happened to him.
All right, so I don't know what to talk about. John Fox to the Bears. I forgot. I didn't know who the Bears coach was since Lovie Smith. Is that sad? I stopped thinking about the Bears a long time ago. When Urlacher left, I left. But, yeah, what y'all think about that? Jay?
You know what? I think this was more of a business move than anything. So I'll say fair. It was a fair firing. I think this was just a business move because of what they invested in the draft with Mitch Trubisky. I think they want to get like an offensive guru in there, like a good quarterback guy or something like that. Somebody innovative or young and innovative. More of a player coach type deal with the Bears. So I think this is more of a business deal more than him just sucking as a coach. John Fox is actually a good coach, but I think this is more of a business move. So I'll say fair on this
one. All right. So far, it's only been one foul. No fouls, all fair. So, Hugh, what you think?
With John Fox, it was going to come because of the fact is, every year you look up, you see the teams who make big splashes in the free agency. And one of the teams for so long, it was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who finally got a little something together this year. They went out to some really key players, and they came up big for them this season. And they're not really one of those teams that you're laughing at right now. You got to take them and that defense alone serious. But then you always see the Chicago Bears make big splashes on big players, whether they're offensive or defensive players. So you're thinking, okay, the Bears, man, they got, a lot of guys in there. They had Lamar Houston. They got Danny Trevathan. It was a lot of guys that they put over there on that team to make them a force and to try to shore them up as far as on the defensive end, because we know that's where a lot of their problems were. But at the same time, you got Mitch Trubisky. He's a rookie. He's trying to find his way. He didn't play too bad. He didn't play the greatest neither. He was just, you can tell he was a rookie and this was his first year. He didn't excel like everybody thought he would. Was such a high draft pick, and that was another problem. You got him such a high draft, and you gave up to get him and to go move up in the draft to get this man, and you didn't really see the reason why. No disrespect. The O-line and everything is not perfect either, but it just wasn't enough to say, I'm convinced that Mr. Trubisky should be the second overall pick, and then you gave up a lot to get him or just to move up that one spot. So that's where a lot of the problems lie at right now. But John Fox never was really a 500, coach neither. They always play lower than expectations. And when you got a coach of that caliber, that's what you're expecting to take them to the next level. And he just fell short. So that's just the bottom line. So his was just as fair as anybody else's because not only they gave him the opportunity, but he always came up short.
All right, so this last one we will talk about, because I think that they gotta, whether it was foul or fair, I think they're gonna come out the best out of it all, and that is the Raiders hiring Jack Del Rio. See, these are the names I can say. I like these people's names that I can pronounce. Because I was watching something with my brother on New Year's Eve. I think I was doing his hair, and this guy's name was Obobo. I said, what? That's not what it was, but that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? I was like, change it when you come to America. Like, how you got fans and they don't even know what they're saying? Jesus, anyway. The Raiders and the return of John Gruden. That's the name, right?
Yeah.
So Hugh, what you think of this? What you think of this? Well, first, do you think it was fair or foul?
You know what? After this year, I think they took a step back, even though they could have gave Jack Del Rio another year to try to get itself together, because when you look at it, you could say the year when they played so well, which was last season, you could say that they maybe overachieved versus underachieving. This year, they went back to where you probably thought that they would have been at, like in the middle of the pack, not quite a playoff team, but on the, edge of getting there. But what happened was, after they played so well last season, and for them to digress, and definitely not only that, for them not take that step back, but you get beast mode over there, and he's not no ordinary back. And that's one thing that they basically looked at and said, hey, this will take us over the top. We can have a stout running game. We have Amari Cooper. We have Michael Crabtree, which I don't think Michael Crabtree will be with them next year. But it was a lot of weapons that they brought in to help out Derek Carr. Man, they even got Jared Cook over there, one of the league's bright spots at tight end. So, you already went out and paid a lot of money on Sean Smith, Bruce Irvin, and, you have a lot of these guys over there. And plus, you already had a high draft pick with Khalil Mack. So it's like you got a lot of good picks from the draft, and then you get these guys from free agency that you really felt like was going to come over there and make a splash in your team, and which I think he did a good job at a lot of those guys, when he, got them in free agency. I just feel like they came up short. And this year was the biggest disappointment, because I felt like they would have been more of a threat to New England than the Pittsburgh Steelers or anyone else. I felt like, man, it's either going to be them or New England. But then you can put in the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they played so below expectations that's why I feel like it was definitely fair. They need to have a good coach like a John Gruden, man. And I feel like John Gruden said, you give me the right team in the right time and place, I'll be there. He already has a solid quarterback in place who made a lot of bad decisions this year. And then, he's pretty good at that, and he's not a slouch when it comes to defense as well, He has some pretty good defensive pieces over there. All they have to do is just get a defensive coordinator to shore up the defense. And I know right now it's a really good one out there right now by the name of Chuck Pagano. Maybe he might go back to the Ravens. That's what I've been hearing. But as long as he's out there, I think John Gruden should try to give it a chance. But yeah, they have everything in place, and I just feel like Jack Del Rio didn't do nothing with the pieces he had, and he had like some solid players over there to play and to try to compete for a championship. And that's what it's all about. From the time he's been there, they had the one good solid season. And, I just feel like now with John Gruden available, you have to be crazy to overlook him. So, yeah, I think it was the time. Maybe if he played, or maybe if they played better, he would have had a chance, but he just came up short again this year.
All right, Jay. Was the Del Rio firing fair or foul?
I think it was foul. And the reason I'm gonna say that is, you look at from last year, towards the end of the year, Derek Carr went down. So your quarterback down, you got to go into the playoffs without your quarterback. So, you fall in the first round, you fall hard. Coming into the next season, big expectations. He gets hurt again. So he's out. He was out for like 6 weeks of the season. And then you had everything that was going on with your coaching staff, with the linebacker coach, and and your star linebackers, stuff like that. Just some stuff that was going on or whatever. And I think this was another business decision. I think this is a business decision that because y'all gotta understand, the Raiders gonna be gone in a minute from LA. They're gonna be in Vegas soon. So this just looks like just straight media, just newsworthy type stuff. Bring in John Gruden and stuff like that. I love John Gruden. He's one of my all-time favorite coaches. I love the way he breaks stuff down. One of my favorite analysts ever. The way he breaks stuff down and deals with quarterbacks, stuff like that. But I really just feel like this is a business decision because they're about to move to Vegas, and I think they want to get as much money as they can and as much hope as they can in LA before they leave. So I really this is a business decision, and I think it was unfair to Jack Del Rio. I think he should have stayed until he really showed that he couldn't coach the team no more. I think the team still got love for Jack Del Rio. I think they'll go out and will go out and play their asses off for him. But this here, this is about getting as much money, much publicity, and trying to feel like Gruden can get them a championship before they move to Vegas. So yeah, this was a power move, a power business move to me. Not a smart coaching decision, I don't think.
All right. Well, good luck, coaches. Hope you find a new job somewhere. And for the retirers, enjoy your life away from football. So let's talk about college football. And first, we're going to talk about the semifinals last week. And we made some predictions about these games. And the first game was Clemson and Bama. We all said Bama was going to win. Who won? Bama.
Bama. It looked bad.
Huh? You said they looked bad?
I said the game looked bad. It was a bad game. We didn't think that Clemson had what they had before, and we talked about that too. We didn't think that they have as good of a quarterback or somebody who had that it factor like Deshaun Watson did. So we definitely felt like that was going to be one of the things. But the defense didn't play too bad, but there just wasn't enough offense.
Guys, as I say, Hugh, what did you think of the game? Look. Oh man, yeah, I only caught part of it, but yeah, I guess it was a game. Jay,
this was we're gonna talk about the other game, which was one of my favorite games in probably the last 10 years, but this Alabama-Clemson game, it was what I said it was going to be. If you remember the show last week, I said it. I said it was going to come down to the fact that Clemson didn't have Deshaun Watson, and they were going to put as much pressure as they could on Kelly Bryant, and they did. They did put a lot of pressure on that quarterback and forced him to try to beat them. Clemson don't have a running game. Their defense could only do so much, especially in a short field with Bama. And I agree with what you said. The game was ugly. Bama didn't play what you would call, they played inspired football. They had to prove something. And, they were the fourth seed. Bama's not used to being a fourth seed. One or two, yeah. But fourth seed, that was like, nah. You know what I'm saying? They just pretty much stuck in the playoffs. Everybody was saying Ohio State should have been there. this, that, and the other. And Bama had something to prove. So the defense, to me, won that game. The defense killed the game, like, just dominated Clemson in every facet. You know what I'm saying? Gave Jalen Hurts a short field every time, pretty much. So, it was what I said it was going to be. So I wasn't surprised at all at the score. I thought Bama would win by more, actually. I was surprised to see 24-6. I thought it would be like 38-6 or some shit like that.
Yes. Damn. They ain't got no more. They just blow out. Don't even play no more. Don't even play football no more. Wow. Okay. So we had another game. The Georgia Bulldogs versus the Oklahoma Sooners. And y'all said, nah, Oklahoma, they got this. They this, they that, and da-da-da-da-da-da. But who won the game, y'all? Anybody can answer.
Georgia won. Georgia won the game, but it was like
them Bulldogs.
They both wasn't trying to play the win.
I told y'all they was going to win.
He just made it was a lot of mistakes made, though, in that game. It was like, Jay, I say the exact opposite of what Jay said. It was one of the more exciting games because of the offense, but the defense were terrible.
I told y'all they was going to win. The Georgia Bulldogs, I thought it. I was like, oh,
it was a really exciting game. That damn near looked like a championship game. It was crazy.
Because everybody said what y'all said, that Georgia couldn't win. So what they had to go out in there and do? Win. They had to win. They ain't want nobody to tell them not to play football no more. They had to go out there and win. Good job, Georgia. But what you want to say about the game, Hugh? What you think of it?
Just was really surprised to see Baker Mayfield make some of those mistakes he made, or just the team in general, after they came out so strong in the first half. But to see the miraculous comeback, and then they started going back and forth, and I said, wow, man, these defenses are letting up a little too much. But it was a really exciting game, like Jay said. Just looked at the defense standpoint, felt like a lot of those guys, man, they must have been gassed because it was too many points given up in that second half. But it was a really exciting game. Georgia showed that, they had a lot of fight in them. I thought because of their lack of experience that they wasn't going to be as great. But to see them come out and pull that game out and actually take that away for Oklahoma, that was a really exciting game. And they can't make those many mistakes like that going against Bama, though, man, because those defenses was mediocre. Can't do that against a stout defense like Bama, which, like Jay said, too, Bama didn't look strong on offense. And I still say to this day, I question Jalen Hurts, man. I feel like he made some decisions that he could have took back or should have taken back in the game, and just scratch my head on some of the things he did. But like he said, if it wasn't for those two late defensive touchdowns there, it would have been probably a different game. I expected more.
Jay, what you think of this Bama-Oklahoma game? That
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing. And I love offensive type games. I love high scoring games. I like the passing, all that stuff. I love it. And the long runs and that stuff. This is right up my alley. It was so entertaining. Like, I was trying to go to sleep. Like, I was trying to get some rest because I had a long night on New Year's Eve. But like I agree with you. Kool-Aid. Yeah, Kool-Aid and eating chicken wings and cake and all that stuff. I agree with you. The defense wasn't there. And I know for the defensive guys who like defensive games or just balanced games where you will have, average amount of scoring, but the defense still shows up. But this just seemed like neither team had a defense on the field, like at all. Like the offense was just running through running through their plays and stuff, and they were just just straight highlight reels. And this was just exciting. One of the best Rose Bowls or bowl games I've seen since the Rose Bowl with Texas and USC. Vince Young going against Reggie Bush and that USC juggernaut. And this is so exciting, man. And I really didn't think my predictions was I predicted that Oklahoma would win because of their maturity and they had a lot of upperclassmen there. They've kind of been there before, and Georgia just seemed to be a young team, up and coming, stuff like that. But they showed up, especially that second half. I think that second half the defense kind of showed up in that second half and shut down. They changed everything that Oklahoma was trying to do. They kind of isolate. Well, they kept Baker Mayfield under wraps, and they let Oklahoma run the ball, which is not their strength. So they were able to control what Oklahoma wanted to do with their game plan, especially in overtime too. So I'm actually excited to see this national championship game, but we're not going to see the high scoring affair that we saw in this game in the national championship game with Alabama. Nick Saban ain't having that. I swear, like if that type of stuff go off, like Nick Saban go run on the field, start fighting his players, like he'll turn into Bobby Knight.
Right.
Like for real. Like he'll turn into straight Bobby Knight / Latrell Sprewell, start choking people, and he have a baby on the field, like for real. So I don't think that's how. I think it's gonna be a crowded out game. And then we got these are two conference foes too. So all SEC national championship game. We'll see.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Well, while we're talking about it, let's talk about the game, the national championship game, with who y'all got, Bama or Georgia? Hugh?
In this one, I'm going to still go with Bama, even though I think they're very pedestrian when it came to the offense. I think Jalen Hurts needs to make way better decisions and execute better when he gets the opportunity. I think he was rattled a few times. He made decisions when he was under stress, or he was, to the point where he was shaking, and he didn't want to make a lot of mistakes. A few times, I've seen one of the plays with Calvin Ridley when he was wide open, and he decided not to throw it to him, and then he had to go and kind of create his own magic on the side and get open for him to get the ball. But just feel like he needs to play and execute better for Bama to win, but that defense is going to help as well. I feel like if he don't make mistakes and make good decisions, then Bama has a chance. But at the same time, you can never doubt a young, hungry team like Georgia. But overall, I'm going to go with Nick Saban and the experience and that defense. So, yeah, I'm going to definitely go with Bama.
Jay?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything he just said. I'm going to go with Alabama as well. I will say the reason Jalen Hurts is scared, Nick Saban was probably looking at me, like he was just about to choke him off every mistake that he made. But
mistake.
I think Jalen Hurts will be okay in this game. I think he's going to manage it well. They're going to have to. Bama's going to have to run the ball better in this game. I think they're going to have to run a lot better in this game. But those linebackers from Georgia they're for real. Those are NFL caliber linebackers. But I think Bama's going to win this game by stopping that two-headed monster, which is Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. They're going to stop those two. And hold on. I got to talk about that. I'm surprised you didn't laugh, Monique. Who would name their kid Sony Michel? Like, what? Sony?
It's a boy?
Yes.
Oh, I thought
his name is Sony Michel.
I just talking about somebody's mama or something was proud of their son. No, you don't do that to a boy. That's mean. That's when parents don't love their kids. Or unless see, that's what like you name your daughter like Moet or Kristen. You know she ain't gonna be nothing but a stripper. That's all she is, stripper or some type of entertainment. You name your child that they can't do nothing but play a sport. They're not gonna be no good. You know, like Sony Michel. No, stop. Him and Gurley and who is this? These other ones. These names. Change your name. Change your name, Sony. Probably what? Hang out with Caitlyn Jenner. Get the fuck out of here. Damn. I'm sorry, Sony. It's not even your fault. Slap your parents. Just slap them hard.
Right.
Real hard.
But yeah, my thing is, I think Alabama's going to win this game off of stopping that two-headed monster, stopping that run game and making Fromm beat them on the pocket. And he's a young kid, and we'll see how he can do with this Bama defense. And I think that's where it's going to come down to. I think he's going to have to win the game. I don't think he's capable of it right now. So I'm going to go with Bama. And Bama's going to win this game by about 10 points.
You said by 10?
But first of all, I want everybody to know, don't be expecting a repeat of Georgia and Oklahoma. This is a whole different ball game. It's going to be grinded out because both of them have good defense. So it's going to be a straight boxing match. First like an even boxing match. At first, they're going to be slugging it out. It's going to be defense, and then something going to break open, and momentum's going to swing. And I think it's going to be Bama. Bama going to end up getting a turnover or something, and swing the doors wide open. So, yeah, I'm taking Bama by 10.
But I'm going with Georgia. You know why I'm going with Georgia?
I'd be so surprised.
I feel like it. Well, let's see. You know, I always got to be different. But, all right, well, good luck, Georgia and Bama. Well, not Bama, you know. But good luck, Georgia. Y'all made it this far. Y'all can do it. I believe in you. I believe in miracles. While we talking college football, let's talk about Jim Harbaugh.
Oh shit!
And is he like Chris Carter said, the most overrated college football coach? I don't know. What y'all think about this? Should he be on the hot seat because of that bowl loss? Hugh?
I think the expectations are very high with him right now. And that's the reason why a lot of people are probably looking at him and ready to, cause a lot of pain or inflict a lot of pain to him because there's just a lot of bad decisions that he make. And I think that his coaching style is kind of mediocre right now. It's been a little disappointing because you see how he did when he had Stanford and how good he has those guys prepared and was ready to play. I mean, maybe because he had a great, quarterback as well, that helped. But we had guys, man, and it's like you're trying to be on the top of your recruiting class, but you're not looking for the quarterback, play. And you can tell because the guys didn't look good, none of our quarterbacks. But I just don't really feel like the expectation of Jim Harbaugh and basically the team and the way they're playing, it didn't mesh. I'm really disappointed right now, and I feel like he has to do a better job, but maybe his job may be in jeopardy. But I feel like still, he could patch this up with a good quarterback and, recruiting class and just really trying to do a better job all around. So the defense is not bad. They're still a pretty decent defense, but the offense never really gave us that big play that we need. And they were losing, or they were barely winning against teams that they should be dominating, in the beginning of the season. And that's where I was worried at, because the quarterback play was so bad. But, yeah, I still feel like we need to give him another season before we decide to explore our options, because besides him, it was like, who else is really out there? It was like we wanted Jim. We looked at it and said, let's get him. When he left San Francisco, that's what everybody wanted. And then we finally got that opportunity. I still feel like he needs to play a little bit more aggressive and have a better game plan all around. But, yeah, I still feel like he needs that opportunity to make ends. But one of the biggest things right now, where people probably ready to get rid of him, because he hasn't beaten none of our rivals. In the time he's been there, we've lost to each and every rival. And that's what it's all about, coming up big in those rivalry games. And he came up short every time they had a chance to play. So that might predict his job, but I still feel like there's hope. But it's like you can only get so many chances, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. All right, Jay.
Do we got a censor button anywhere?
Nope.
Man. Okay. I'm gonna try my best not to cuss. I was posting on Facebook. First of all, when I got home, that was the main thing I was focused on. I'm like, okay, I'm watch this Michigan game. Let's go. Let's get this victory. Go ahead and go 9-4, and get ready for next year. Playing South Carolina, should be able to handle them. Brandon Peters had a whole month or so to get everything together, work all the kinks out. We good to go. Got my wings together, and sitting here eating, watching the game. So looking, the first couple drives just looked like it was O'Corn back there. So I'm like, what is going on? So as the game progressed, it just didn't get better at all. So South Carolina ended up, swinging the momentum. And once that momentum swung, I was like, it's over. As soon as they scored that first touchdown, I was like, it's over. They got the momentum. They scored another touchdown and got an interception in the end zone. And I'm like, and then the play caller was just terrible. So I started posting on Facebook. I'm like, Jim Harbaugh is overrated. Like his coaching style is so, and I've been whining about his coaching style all year. Like he coached like he in the 1700s or something. Like they got the helmets without the face mask, and they playing in big sweaters and church pants and
You talking about like Leatherhead, that movie with George Clooney?
Exactly like Leatherhead. He's calling these stupid plays, and I'm like, dude, what is you doing? Like you have a 6'5" quarterback. He was an elite 11 quarterback. That means out of all the quarterbacks in the country, they pick 11. That's the best in the nation. That's the best in the nation when they get invited to a camp to showcase their skills for the schools and stuff like that. So, elite 11. And you get one of them. And he looks like that in a bowl game. So, to me, that's all coaching. And everybody was saying, all the QBs whack and blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, dude, you got to look at the coaching. Your coach is supposed to get you prepared for the game. They're supposed to put you in positions to win the game. He has not put this team all year in a position to win big games. The Michigan State game, disappointment. Big disappointment. I don't know what the heck he was thinking with those play calls, but they were stupid. The whole game plan was dumb by him. It was just dumb. It was just dumb as hell. Like you call like we're in the rain. It's raining like crazy. Dude, you throw the ball with a quarterback who's incapable of throwing. You throw the ball about 8 straight times in the game. You know, it's dumb, like stupid stuff. And then when you should be throwing the ball, you fucking handing it off like it's the, you know what I'm saying, the 18-20 Michigan team or something. You know, like you Bo Schembechler or something, and you know nobody don't know how to stop the run, and I mean, just he's overrated. He's 1-5 against his rivals. The only win was against Michigan State, and Michigan State was in a rebuilding year, pretty much. They were last season they were 3-9, I think, and we caught them on a down year. This year, they came in our house and whooped us. And they just out-coached us, everything. Ohio State, I don't even want to talk about that game. You know what I'm saying? So, I just feel like Jim Harbaugh is so stubborn. Like, his ways are, you know, one of them people, you know, them people that's just so stubborn, they don't want to listen to nothing. Or just, I mean, even if it's in their face that you're wrong, they just still want to admit it because they think they'll just have a heart attack and die or something. Like, he's one of them people that's just stubborn to the bone. And I feel like the heat is on him now. You have to beat your rivals, and then you have to coach better. You got to get better coordinators or whatever around you. If you're not good at the S's and the O's like that, that's fine. Get people that are around you. And the only person that's around him that's good at the X's and the O's is Darren Brown, the defensive coordinator. And the defense can't be on the field that long because they're going to give up big plays. They're going to be tired. And then the offense is going to figure them out. So if your defense are getting you off the field time and time again, getting the other team's offense off the field time and time again, if you're not going to really score like that, put up big numbers, at least control the ball where your defense can get rest, game plan for the next series. But you're going 3 and out constantly, the defense don't get ran up on. So I do agree with Chris Carter. He's overweighted as hell. You need to stop all this climbing in trees and sleeping over people's house and all this other crap he be doing and with the cheerleaders on the sideline, all this garbage to get recruits, and you don't coach them up like you're supposed to. So I need to get his act together and get the hell out of Ann Arbor. Because I don't care if this your alma mater or not, you have to win games. You have to. You got to beat Michigan State. You got to beat Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to stumble and fumble against Michigan State, okay, we can live with that. The only thing that bothers me with losing to Michigan State really is bragging right. Because, you know, we got a lot of people who are Michigan State fans around us. You know what I'm saying? And we beat y'all or whatever. We got to listen to that. But losing to Ohio State, that cuts like a knife.
That's not acceptable.
I hate losing to them.
That is not acceptable.
That's what I'm saying, Monique. That is unacceptable to lose to Ohio State like that. Like, we beat them 6 straight times and then they slip up and, you know, okay, we got them more. If we're trading victories or something like that. But, I mean, we done lost it. I can't even remember the last time we beat Ohio State. I had to Google it the other day. It's been that long. I'm like, when was the last time we beat Ohio State? So, if they were all, you know, get Bleacherz out of here and all of this stuff, and he don't never wear no headsets, and he this and that and the other, and then, you know, let us get Harbaugh and all this crap, And then he comes and what are you doing? And somebody said something real interesting the other day. They said he inherited, Harbaugh inherited a very good Big Ten, which is correct. Michigan State's good now. Penn State is good. Ohio State is good. You got Indiana up and coming. Nebraska just got Scott Frost, so no telling what they're going to be. Wisconsin's good. So all of these teams in the Big Ten are good now. Dude, you got to change something up. You can't play 1922 ball. Like, you can't do that. You got receivers that can run 4-3, 4-4s. Like I said, you got a big quarterback. You got an agile offensive line. Dude, you got to coach this team to their strengths. You can't coach them like you would be coaching, like I said, with the leather helmets on. Like, you can't do it. Stop it. And then I get pissed when I'm sorry I'm going on a rant, but I get pissed.
I'm about to say, we got 10 minutes and like 2 more topics.
I'm sorry. This is the last thing I'm saying. I get upset when you see teams like the Oklahoma, Georgias, Alabamas, teams like that that's scoring points and looking good out there, and you love a team so much and you want to root for your team, but they look like garbage. I'm sick of that. I'm tired of hearing about Harbaugh, how good he is. He got to show me something. So, yeah, he on the hot seat. Yeah. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
So, real quick then, let's talk about the Marvin Lewis as a head coach. I don't think this would take long. And why they decided to keep him? Which I think the reason they decided to keep him was Jay, go quit. Maybe you should be tired from talking, so you shouldn't go there.
I am kind of tired though while you play it.
All right.
Marvin Lewis, I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, he's been there about 15 years. This is about to be like 16th year or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's been to the playoffs a lot. That hasn't won a playoff game, and for most coaches, they would have been out of there 6 years ago. 6-7 years ago, probably 10 years ago. But he's getting the benefit of the doubt for some reason. I don't know, and I think this was a poor decision by the Cincinnati Bengals to do this to this team and this fan base, because the fan base is a very loyal fan base, and they stopped coming to games this year. And with the season they had too, I mean, I know they finished strong, but I mean, they had a rough season with a good team. So it was time for him to go, like I said, about 10 years ago. But I don't know what they're thinking, and we'll see what's to come.
Hugh?
I don't think it was a good decision either. I think it was more or less because of Brown and his loyalty to Marvin Lewis, but at the same time, I don't think he should be there. It was like 5 years too many that he stayed to stay. The team is undisciplined. They don't play well. And sometimes on defense, it's kind of like the players are running things, and I just didn't feel like that's a good fit right now. They basically lost me too, not only because they was already playing bad, but to lose when they lost to the Steelers after blanking them before the half. It was like 17-3. And then all of a sudden they didn't score nothing but a field goal. So, yeah, I just really feel like the discipline is not there. And it's like sometimes they seem lost, like they don't know what they're doing. And just really feel like I think it was another opportunity. There's a lot of coaches, candidates going to be available. Just feel like they made a mistake by keeping them overall.
Oh, okay. So I was just reading what he said at a press conference on Wednesday. They talked about him after he got his extension. And he says, you're going to have to start from scratch regardless. So you might as well start from scratch with someone you understand, someone you know. Now, he is the second longest coaching job next to Bleacherz. But we already know the Pats got 5 Super Bowls. They say this man ain't never won a playoff game. Like,
Nope.
in 16 years, you haven't won a game in the playoffs? I mean, good Jesus. And they say the owner doesn't like change. So that's why he's decided to give him another try. We'll see how that goes. All right, Hall of Fame. We got some big names in there, of course. Ray Lewis, Randy Moss, Brian Urlacher. Oh, man, I hate when my computer goes slow. So we got Brian Dawkins, Joe Jacoby, Edgerrin James, Ty Law. I remember him. John Lynch. I remember him, too. And T.O. But it starts at 15, it goes to 10, and finally 5, and then they pick. So who y'all think got a better chance to get in this Hall of Fame? Hugh?
I definitely feel like this is T.O.'s year. It should be, because they put him out for like just reasons of him just opening his mouth, and I feel like he was a good person who put his foot in his mouth a lot from some of his antics, but still feel like he's Hall of Fame caliber. It's hard because there's a lot of guys in there I know who I feel like should be in there. Definitely Brian Dawkins, Lynch. It's so many, but I definitely feel like Jay said, if this year T.O. don't get put in, then I know it's favoritism, and I know they're trying to blackball this man for being in the Hall of Fame, because there's really nothing that says that he shouldn't be in there already. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing who are going to be the candidates, but it's going to be a hard one, because I feel like Randy deserves to be in there. Lynch, with so many players now, Brian Dawkins, who deserves to be in there, but who's going to get in? Not sure. I know a lot of them are going to be there, but then I definitely feel like this year they should definitely, whatever type of grudge they had against T.O., they need to just go ahead and let it go and let him finally get his gold jacket, because he definitely deserves it. The numbers don't lie in the game.
All right, Jay, what you think?
I'm basically worried about T.O. That's it. I really want to see T.O. get in. I don't think Randy Moss should get in on the first ballot, just based off of the fact that they didn't put T.O. in for reasons that they were talking about. Because actually, Randy Moss was kind of worse. He said, "Hey, I took plays off. I did certain stuff like this." I mean, he had some allegations against him too, for some stuff. Some teams cut him because of his attitude, that type of stuff, man. So if they're gonna hold T.O. out for a number of years or whatever, they should do the same thing to Randy Moss. I do think he's a first ballot. Him and T.O. are first ballots. But I'm really focused on T.O. I think was Ray Lewis on the list too, ain't he?
Yeah, Randy Moss and Ray Lewis are this their first year.
Yeah,
it's their first year.
Ray Lewis is a no-brainer. Ray Lewis is a no-brainer. I mean, if they want to hold the 2000 thing against him, about the whole murder thing or whatever, I think a lot of people have forgotten about that. But Ray Lewis is a no-brainer to get in. I agree with you. Brian Dawkins should get in. One of my personal favorites, the tackle, Tony Baselli, he should get in.
I was just about to say his name, too. We got some more folks on there. I just didn't.
Kevin Mulway.
We got Isaac Bruce.
I think he could wait some. Kevin Mulway. the center.
Oh, that's how you say it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he should get in. One. And I think John Lynch should get in, too.
You got Edgar and James. You got, Steve Hutchinson, Alan Faneca, Isaac Bruce, and Tony Pasali. So, they got a lot to pick from. If they're going to let Ray Lewis in and he was accused of murder, then anything T.O. did wasn't nothing close to being accused of murder. So, I mean, hey.
Yeah.
Like, look, you ain't never been to court for murdering. So, I mean, hey. I mean, he should be in over Ray Lewis if they looking on outside the field stuff. Like, no matter how arrogant he was, like, he ain't never been accused of murder. That's not on his list of accomplishments. So, well, good luck to whoever get in. T.O., I hope you get in, or at least come back with your own reality show again. It was funny. So thanks, everybody. And like I said, the new year didn't start until we did our show. So enjoy your first day of 2018 with us. And we started it early, so you could have had your coffee and listened with us. We will be back. This is just the beginning of 2018. Hopefully we got some live shows coming up for y'all. Y'all can see how awesomely fine we are. It's like, nah. But, yeah, so thanks for listening to Beyond the Bleachers on E-Block Radio with Mo, with Jay, Hugh,